Manchester, Britain's second city, capital of the northern region. A commercial pivot at the centre of perhaps the most heavily populated industrial area in the world.
What's missing?
What have you got?
Blue cheer.
How much?
£1 each.
Gone up, haven't they?
Here we are at the 3-Minute Theatre on Oldham Street. This is our third Vintage Kino event. My name's John Wojciechowski. I'm the Festival Director of Kino Film. Also film programmer for Kino Shorts and Vintage Kino Night.
Here lives the hungriest denizen of the Everglades, Gabby Gator. Man, I'm starving.
I think there's something special about actually seeing film that's made out of film stock rather than digital or video, because it's not just the content, it's also the material, it's what it's made of.
But the warning signs that a user may be abusing the drug, the emergency alarms that tip us off to trouble, are common to nearly all.
Okay, so I take a couple of these a day.
The idea of the event tonight is we're screening films on the original format, 16mm films dating from the 1940s through to the 1970s. Basically they're films from my collection, personal collection, but they're kind of short films that you may have seen in the cinema if you were around in the 1970s and 60s.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived at Manchester Airport, where the local time is 1:30.
More than 2 million people now pass through the airport each year, flying direct to and from all principal European cities, as well as the North Atlantic routes to cities in Canada and the United States.
Because I remember as a boy being about 10 years old, me and my mates, we used to cycle down to Manchester Airport on our bikes from Stockport. I always remember you could go outside on the pier and you could see it in the documentary film and see the aeroplanes with nothing in between you. So you got the massive kind of roar of the engines and you could see them coming into land. Nowadays you can't get near them, it's just like a shopping mall.
The crowning glories of the new terminal are the 4 Venetian glass chandeliers, each one weighing 2 tons and containing 1,300 pieces of glass.
I really enjoyed it. I liked the Manchester Airport one best. I loved all the interiors of the airport, the chandeliers and things like that. I've read about those chandeliers on the internet, so that was really interesting.
Feeling cold? Perhaps it's because the Antarctic has been in the news all the year.
I like the newsreel. I thought the newsreel was amazing.
This South African observatory has been busy photographing the moon. At the time of going to press, the moon was still on nobody's personal visiting list.
It was vintage films of the sort of era that I can vaguely remember, that sort of 1960s sort of era.
Is there a special route to follow? It's up to you to find a clue. While you ask yourself, what should I do?
Yeah, I love analog photography and old movies, so it's very interesting actually.
In 1 hour, Woody will be at Cape Canaveral.
I thought I'd check it out, yeah. It's a nice atmosphere and nice venue.
There's all these rules. Sorry about that. No, it's fine. There's a lot of etiquette to dogs.
I mean, what we're trying to do here basically is to create an atmosphere where people can see and watch the vintage movies of yesteryear in an appropriate venue. So the 3-Minute Theatre is a kind of retro style venue in the kind of cultural quarter of Manchester, and it fits the bill, it fits what we're doing perfectly.
Because they were stimulating and gave strength to your very best friends, thus keeping you healthy outside and in. And you were able to climb that rocky road through history.
And we were talking about safety and people working long shifts and that type of thing.
Definitely look at the health and safety video, you know, especially how it's so, everyone's like so health and safety conscious these days. Like the contrast to now to back in the day, it's like when, you know, nobody ever heard of it.
You chaps aren't safe up there, you know. This ladder is spread too far, and you should have a crawling board up there on that roof. Do what? Now, I don't want you falling off the roof of the safety office, especially on my first day.
We've just done anyway. You don't have to worry about us, mate. You'll have your hands full with those cowboys up on the steelwork.
I wanted to see the Lambeth Boys, yes, that sounded like something worth seeing. You probably wouldn't get a chance to see it anywhere else.
Tonight we've got a special feature on as part of the Vintage Kino night. Carol Rice's film called We Are the Lambeth Boys. Really fantastic black and white film dated from 1959, which was a very influential film on the following kind of kitchen sink dramas that were to follow in the 1960s.
Sweet 16 goes to church just to see the boys, laughs and shouts and giggles at every little noise, turns her face a little every once in a while. Everybody knows she's only putting on the style. Well, putting on the agony, putting on the style. That's what all the young folks are doing all the while. And as I look around me, I sometimes have to smile, seeing all the young folks putting on the style. Well, the young man in the hot rod car, driving like he's mad, in a pair of yellow gloves he borrowed from his dad. He makes it go so lively just to see his girlfriend smile. Everybody knows his own